Good morning everyone. Good morning, ma'am. Before I begin my report, may I introduce myself first? I am Dan Hilario from Group 3, and my topic for today is direct penetration in field strength. So, here are the contents on my report. First one is methods of direct penetration. Second one is main tools used. Third one is procedures. Fourth one is advantages and disadvantages, and last is the conclusion. So first, what is a direct penetration? Direct penetration refers to various techniques used to investigate subsurface conditions and determine geotechnical and dynamic ground properties. It is a method of subsurface exploration or drilling, where the drill bit penetrates directly into the Earth's crust or subsurface, without the use of casing or other support structures. This method allows for a direct sampling of the geological layers or formations beneath the surface. So, basically, it is a method or a process of drilling directly to the ground to gather samples or data subsurface, such as soil composition, rock types, and groundwater conditions. Geotechnical and dynamic ground properties. First one is the bearing capacity. It refers to the maximum load that a soil can support without experiencing excessive settlement or failure. Second one is relative density. It is the ratio of the density of a soil or granular material to the density of a reference material, typically a water. Third one is solid deformation. It is the alteration in shape or size of a solid material due to the application of forces or stresses. It can occur in various forms such as stretching, compression, bending, or shearing. Fourth one is liquefaction. It is a phenomenon where saturated soil temporarily loses its strength and stiffness during the intense shaking, such as during an earthquake. The fifth one is shear resistance. It is the ability of a material to withstand forces that cause deformation by sliding one part of the material relative to another along a plane. Shear resistance is a critical factor in assessing the stability of soil and rock masses, especially in the context of slope stability. So, may we move in the three methods of direct penetration in field strength. The first one is the standard penetration test, or the SPT. Second one is the cone penetration test, or the CPT. Third one is the bench shear test, or the VST. So, what is a standard penetration test? It is a simple and low-cost testing procedure widely used in geotechnical investigation to determine the relative density and strength of steep cohesive soils. It is an in situ dynamic penetration test designed to provide information on the geotechnical engineering properties of soil. This test is the most frequently used subsurface drilling test performed worldwide. The test provides samples for identification purposes and provides a measure of penetration resistance which can be used for geotechnical design and purposes. Equipments for standard penetration test. The split barrel sampler can be defined as a steel sampling tool used for obtaining samples from subsurface soil formations. Drop hammer, or the donut hammer, drives the sampler into the borehole. Its mass is 63.5 kg or 140 pounds. Guiding rod. guides the hammer to the anvil. Drilling equipment. Any drilling equipment that provides a clean borehole at least 5 mm larger than the split spoon sampler can be used. Driving head or the anvil. Used to stop the hammer at a specific point. So, here is an example of the materials or the equipments used. So, may we move into the procedures. So, first one is the drilling. So, a borehole is drilled into the ground using a drill rig, typically to the desired depth of exploration. So the second one is the preparation. The borehole is cleaned out to remove any debris or drilling mud, ensuring clear access to the soil layers. Third one is the setup. A split spoon sampler attached to a drill rod is lowered into the borehole. The sampler consists of a tube split longitudinally with a cutting shoe at the bottom to aid penetration. Testing. A hammer of standard weight, usually 140 pounds, is dropped from a standard height, usually 30 inches, to drive the sampler into the soil. The number of blows required to advance the sampler at a standard distance is recorded for each foot of depth. Fifth one is the sampling. After each test, the split spoon sampler is retrieved from the borehole and the soil sample trapped inside is extracted for analysis. Sixth one is the logging. Observations are made during drilling and sampling, including soil type, color, moisture content, presence of groundwater, and any other relevant information. Seventh is the repetitions. The SBT is often repeated at regular intervals along the depth of the borehole to provide a profile of soil conditions. Eighth one is the reporting. The test results, including blow counts and soil descriptions, are recorded and reported for further analysis in geotechnical engineering and foundation design. So, here is another example of on how SBT work. And meron tayong video dito. Let's move on to the next slide. Mm, so, what are the advantages? The widespread use. Um, the SPT is a widely accepted and standardized test method, making it easy to compare results across different projects and locations. Cost effective. Compared to some other geotechnical tests, the SPT is relatively cost effective, making it accessible for many projects. Quick and simple. The test procedures is relatively quick and straightforward, requiring minimal equipment and expertise. Provides the fourth one is provides indirect measurement. While the SPT does not directly measure soil properties, it provides valuable information about soil resistance, which can be used to estimate soil strength and other engineering properties. Fifth one is the field versatility. The SPT can be conducted in various soil types and conditions, from sands to clays, making it versatile for different geological settings. And what are the disadvantages? Limited depth. Um, the SPT is generally limited to relatively shallow depths, typically less than 100 feet or 30 meters, which may not provide a complete picture of subsurface conditions for deeper foundations. Second one is the soil disturbance. The drilling and sampling process can disturb the soil, potentially altering its properties and affecting test results, especially in loose or soft sites. Third one is um, crude number for analysis. Fourth one is not applicable in soft clays and silts, and high variability and uncertainty. So, second one is the cone penetration test, or the CPT. It is an in situ test that is used to identify the soil type. In this test, a cone penetrometer is pushed into the ground at a standard rate, and data are recorded at regular intervals during penetration. The cone penetration test has become internationally one of the most widely used and accepted test methods for determining geotechnical soil properties. The data gained from a cone penetration test can be used to assess whether soil layers are likely to liquefy under different levels of earthquake shaking. What are the equipments for cone penetration tests? First one is the cone penetrometer probe. This is the primary tool used to measure the soil's resistance to penetration. The cone penetrometer is pushed into the ground at a steady rate, and the resistance to penetration, known as the point resistance, is recorded. Drill rig. Drill rig is essential for boring a hole into the ground where the cone penetration test will be conducted. Third one is measuring equipment. Various instruments are used to record data during the test. These include devices for measuring cone resistance, frictional resistance, and for water pressure. Fourth one is the support equipment. Accessories such as data acquisition system, hydraulic pushing systems, and geophones for seismic waves measurements enhance the test accuracy and the efficiency. Safety gear. Safety precautions are crucial during testing. Personal protective equipment or the PPE ensures the safety of a personnel involved. Hand tools. Hand tools such as shovels, pickups, and hammers are necessary for clearing the area around the test site, for preparing the hole for insertion of the cone penetrometer, and for any minor adjustments to the drilling equipment. Soil sampling tools. Soil samples may be taken to further laboratory analysis such as soil sampling tube or a hand auger may be required for this purpose, and it is also essential to have proper lighting, water supply, and electricity on site for a smooth and efficient test. So, sa procedures naman tayo. The first one is the site selection and preparation. Clearing the area where the test will be conducted to ensure accessibility and safety. Second one is positioning. Positioning the SPT rig at the designated test locations, typically marked on the ground base on the site investigation plan. Third one is the inserting cone. Inserting the cone-shaped penetrometer into the ground at a constant rate of penetration, usually in millimeters or per second. Data collection. Collecting real-time data on cone resistance, slip fractures, and pore water pressures as the cone advances through the soil layers. This data is typically transmitted electronically from the cone to a data acquisition system. Fifth is the depth increments. Advancing the cone in depth increments, typically at intervals of 1 to 2 meters, depending on the site conditions and project requirements. Sixth one is the data interpretation. Analyzing the collected data to interpret soil properties such as soil type, relative density, shear strength, and stratigraphy. 7 is the test completion. Completing the test once the desired depth is reached or when specified testing requirements are met. And results and analysis. Generating a detailed report summarizing the test results, interpretations, and recommendations for use in engineering design and analysis. So, here's another figure of the cone penetration test. And may papakita ulit akong sample video ng CPT.
Fast, accurate subsurface exploration method. A CPT rig uses hydraulics to push a steel cone into the ground. The cone is advanced at a constant rate. Continuous measurements of tip resistance, sleeve friction, and dynamic pore water pressure. The data record allows for differentiation of soil layers and interpretation of material properties. The cone stops at refusal in dense soil or rock.
So, ayan. Punta tayo sa next slide. So, what are the advantages of the CPT? So, cost effective. Generally, more cost effective than traditional drilling methods since it provides continuous soil profile data without the need for drilling and sampling. Second one is efficiency. Rapid data collection and real-time monitoring allow for quick assessment of soil conditions, reducing field time and labor costs. Third one is the high-quality data. Provides high-quality continuous data on soil properties such as cone resistance, slip friction, pore water pressure, allowing for detailed analysis and interpretation. Fourth one is the minimal site disturbance. Requires minimal site disturbance compared to drilling methods, making it suitable for environmentally sensitive areas or sites with restricted access. Fifth one is the depth coverage. And last is the versatility, or it can be easily combined with other geotechnical tests and instrumentation to enhance site characterization and analysis. And what are the disadvantages? For limited sampling, it does not provide physical soil samples for laboratory testing, which may be necessary for certain types of analysis or verification. Second one is the dependent on soil type. Performance can be affected by soil conditions such as gravelly or dense soils, which may hinder penetration or accuracy of results. Equipment limitations. Equipment size and access contains may limit testing in certain locations. Interpretation challenges. Interpretation of CPT data requires expertise and may be subject to interpretation bias. And depth limitations. Depth limitations may exist for very deep soil layers or hard rock formations, requiring additional methods for deeper exploration. And for vein shear test or the VST, it is used to measure the undrained shear strength of cohesive soil, especially soft clays. The test can be conducted in situ or in the laboratory. It is simple, quick, and cost-effective to carry out. The test can be used to find the undrained strength of soil in the undisturbed and also the remolded state. This test is cheaper option compared to the other methods of testing shear strength of clay, such as triaxial shear test or direct shear test. So, equipments for vein shear test: torque wrench, drive head, spanner for extension rod, 2 or 3 vein sizes. Common sizes are 19 by 38 mm, 25 by 50 mm, 30 by 60 mm, 75.8 by 151.5 mm. A transport case. So here is an figure or picture of an vein shear test. Dito na rin yung mga equipments, iba't ibang equipments and materials sa vein shear test. Makita nyo dito sa picture. So, let's move sa procedure. Number 1 is the preparation. So, under preparation, set up the vein shear test or vein shear apparatus, which consists of a cylindrical vein attached to a rod and a torque measuring device. Second one is the site test locations. Identify and mark the locations where the vein shear test will be performed, typically spaced at regular interval across the site. Third one is the preparation of test. Drill or push a borehole into the ground to the desired depth using appropriate drilling equipment such as an auger or soil sampler. The hole should have a diameter slightly larger than the vein diameter. Fourth one is the insertion of vein. Insert the vein into the test hole at the desired depth. Ensure that the vein is fully submerged into the soil and that the hole is filled with soil around the vein to minimize any gap between the vein and the soil. So the fifth one is the application of torque. Apply a constant rotational force to the vein using the torque measuring device. The rate of rotation should be controlled to maintain a uniform shear rate through the test. 6 is the measurement of torque. Continuously Measure the torque applied to the vane as it rotates. The torque requires to shear the soil is recorded as the peak torque value. 7 is the shear failure. Continue rotating the vane until shear failure occurs, indicated by a sudden drop in torque or a noticeable change in soil behavior. Re- record the depth at which shear failure occurred. 8 is the data recording. Record the peak torque value, depth of the test, and any other relevant observations during the test, such as soil type or moisture content. Number 9 is the repeat testing. Perform multiple venture tests at different depths and locations across the site to obtain a representative sample of soil strength and characteristics. Number 10 is the data analysis. Analyze the collected data to determine the shear strength parameters of the soil, such as the undrained shear strength or the shear strength profile with the depth. And last is reporting. Compile the test results, interpretations, and recommendations into a comprehensive report for use in engineering design and analysis. So, here is the example pic. So, meron akong prepare na video dito sa bench test kung paano to ginagawa. So,
this is vane shear test. We use it for soft material like soft clay. The way it works is we insert blades inside the soil until here, and then we turn this vane shear apparatus and see how much strength the soil has. We use scale. The scale is given here in kPa. And then we look at the results and analyze them. I'll do vane shear test on this soft soil. We put vane shear apparatus in the soil so that blades are covered with soil. We make sure that the scale is set to 0, and then we slowly rotate 1 revolution per minute.
So, yan. Ito naman tayo sa next slide. So, what are the advantages of the vane shear test? First one is the non-destructive. The test doesn't involve disturbing the soil sample significantly, making it non-destructive compared to the other methods like triaxial testing. Second one is the simple procedure. It is relatively simple to conduct, requiring minimal equipment and expertise. And quick results. Results can be obtained quickly, allowing for rapid assessment of soil shear strength. So, for the disadvantages, first one is the limited applicability. The test is primarily suitable for cohesive soils and may not be as effective of granular soils. Um, Shear plane determination. Accurately determining the shear plane with the sample can be challenging, leading to potential errors in the results. Influence of pore water pressure. The test doesn't directly measure pore water pressure, which can affect the accuracy of the results, specifically in saturated soils. so, so in conclusion, standard penetration tests or the SPT, comp penetration tests, the CPT, and vein shear tests VST depends on the specific requirements of the project and the soil conditions being investigated. Each test has its advantages and limitations. So for SPT, it's widely used and provides valuable information about soil resistance at different depths. It's suitable for coarse-grained soils and can provide insight into soil stratigraphy. And for the CPT, it offers continuous data and is particularly useful for fine-grained soils. It provides real-time measurements of cone resistance and slip friction, allowing for more detailed soil characterization. So, for VST, this test this test measures the shear strength of cohesive soils. It's beneficial for assessing the stability of soft soils such as clays. It provides direct measurements of undrained shear strength. Ultimately, the choice depends on factors like soil type, project goals, budget, and available equipment. Consulting with a geotechnical engineer or expert in the field can help determine the most suitable test for a specific situation.